Hey, can you hear me? Let me unmute you real quick.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, how you doing?
Hey, good. Sorry, my roommates are being kind of loud outside, so if I need to move, just let me know. You can hear
Oh,
me.
you're fine. You'll probably hear some background noise here too. They're cleaning up the kitchen and finishing homeschool for the day, and
Oh, fun.
life moves on. We're all becoming really good at multitasking, aren't we?
Oh, yes, we are. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We are.
Oh, you look so pretty. I'm glad to be with you today.
Thank you. I miss you guys. I'm thankful to see you too.
Yeah. So you're still at school right now?
So I'm still in Charleston. I'm with school. I officially graduated, but I'm still in Charleston. I have my lease through the end of the summer, so I'll be here until then, and then we'll see what comes next.
Okay, and things are kind of loosening up there a little bit in South Carolina.
Yeah, they are. We're still trying to stay home and to ourselves as much as possible. But yeah, things are opening up slowly but surely. People are outside again. Charleston's kind of getting busy, so we'll see. It's weird.
I know it is that weird middle ground right now. I'm feeling
Mhm.
it too.
Exactly. Yeah. Just trying to stay safe.
Yes. Aw. Well, so if you could just kind of start us out by giving us just a quick. First of all, let me just say that the people who are tuning in are going to be the folks that are in the private Southminster Church uh,
Mhm.
group, and so that'll be like people who are connected to you and your family already.
Yeah.
And then Dan will also send a link out to the newsletter that'll have this little interview so that we can just share. Like the goal is just to help just build our relationships with each other and connections with each other while we're apart. And
Yeah.
I think in some ways it's kind of cool because I was saying to Dan, like, it's so nerve wracking when you stand up in front of the church and you're like sharing, and I
Mhm.
feel all wobbly in the knees anytime where I stand up in front of a bunch of people.
Mhm. Me
and
too.
and so this I think gives people just an opportunity to hear your heart and
Yeah.
what's happening. So just give us a quick update if you could on like your life, your college and career path so far, and then also if you want to, just kind of like what's coming ahead in the next around the bend for you.
Okay, yeah. So I have been at the College of Charleston for the past 4 years, and I just graduated last week with a Bachelor's of Science in Psychology. So that's what I've been working on for the last 4 years. I have continued working with people with disabilities. That's always been my heart. And so I've done a lot of volunteering throughout college with that. I just did my senior thesis was about people with autism and kind of the biases that might exist for them in a job interview, which was really cool. And I was really active in Greek life in college. Did some things with fundraising and volunteering with that in my sorority, and also did a lot with research, like I was saying. So yeah, I just finished up my 4 years there, and I'm hoping. So I'm taking a gap year before I do any other school. I had applied for a program to teach English abroad, and I got it, but the world is not exactly prepared for me to travel right now. So I'm kind of waiting on hearing about that. It's at least been delayed until January, but might get to go abroad again, might just be here for the year. And then the end goal is going to occupational therapy school for grad school. Yeah, so another degree, but actually getting to put my everything that I've done to use and keep helping people with disabilities. That's the goal. So yeah.
So cool. And I think we've talked about this before, but when my degree is in special education and elementary education, and
Mm-hmm.
I worked with a lot of occupational therapists, and I can just
Yeah.
see you being such a blessing in that
Oh, thank
realm. It's
you.
exciting because when you're in that sort of parallel role, whether you're in this school or not in the school, I think you're going to have so many opportunities to empower families to
Mm-hmm.
advocate for their children in ways that even educators technically cannot,
Right.
because
And
there's
that,
like some red tape there. It's
yeah.
very cool.
Yeah, that's the goal. I thought about doing law. I thought about doing education, a lot of different things, but I knew I just wanted that person to person connection. And I've gotten to shadow some OTs, and I really think that that is the best way to do it for me. So
Yeah,
fingers
yeah.
crossed that all works out.
I see it, girl. It's awesome. It's so good. So you're kind of in a holding pattern in terms of the gap year plans right now. So we can definitely be praying about that with you.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. Yeah. I think most people in my shoes coming out of college are all kind of in the same boat. We're all in the same sea, different boats is what I've been saying. You know, we all have different things going on, but a lot of people's jobs have been pushed off, or, you know, we're all just trying to figure it out. So I'm thankful that you know, I'm working here still. I'm doing online tutoring with some kids. So that's good. And we'll just take it day by day. Yeah.
That's a little niche job that's going to pick up, isn't it?
Yes, definitely.
That
Because
could easily become full-time work, I think.
definitely the parents are very thankful, I think, for the time and the help. Because yeah, we're all scrambling for education. So yes.
Sure, sure.
Mhm.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, how has your relationship with Jesus um, impacted your interactions and your relationships with others in this season? I know there's probably so many ways you could talk about because he's in you and walking with you every day.
Yeah.
Are there some specific ways that you've seen?
Yeah, I think just college in general, you meet so many people with so many different walks of life, and I think that like with that perspective that I have of just kind of believing that everyone is, you know, created beautifully and distinctly,
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten to learn so many cool different stories and things from people, and just kind of being prepared always to dive deep into people's lives. I've never been good at kind of like surface level interactions, but I love getting to know people deeply. And so I've really tried to do that in college, and I'm really thankful for the people that I have gotten to interact with really deeply here and when I went abroad, because I went abroad to Spain and to Southeast Asia. So I got to really kind of dig deep with those people. And I think that belief definitely dri- drove drove that a lot. And then also I was thinking about it before I had this interview, just in the way like that I was raised in Southminster, and the way that I learned, you know, Christianity from Southminster. I've loved being able to talk about that in conversations with people. I think a lot of people have really negative perceptions of Christianity, and some people have been really jaded and really hurt. And I've been really thankful to be able to say, you know, I grew up in a church that believed, you know, the quote, like the church is not a museum for perfect people, but a hospital for the broken. And, you know, that grace is the forefront of things, and that, you know, that judgment was never really something I learned from church. So I've been thankful in my interactions with people. I've been able to kind of use Southminster as an example of what I think, you know, Jesus would want Christianity to look like. So that's been really nice.
How awesome is that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know you understand how unique that is. It shouldn't be unique, but that's
No,
so
yeah.
neat that you've had that opportunity. And just getting to travel abroad, you're coming out of school with this um, perspective that is so much bigger than your
Mm-hmm.
town and your state and your nation. You can see that God is big.
Yeah. It's definitely popped my bubble and helped me
Yeah.
understand that I am not one to say that I know better than anyone else, and that my experience is my experience. And, you know, and like I said, just learning people's stories and hearing how they see the world. Yeah, it's been a really big eye-opening 4 years for sure.
Yeah.
From
I
day one
listened
till
to a
now.
podcast and they were talking about how we need more listeners.
Mm-hmm.
We need to develop the ability to listen well and how that's being lost in our
Mm-hmm.
culture. And I thought about that in the context of conversations on faith. And
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes that happens when you can develop an appreciation, a broader appreciation for the world, and
Mm-hmm.
that everybody in the world comes from different backgrounds and but when we can frame our conversations on faith in that way with it, it gives a certain humility and
Mm-hmm.
respect that
Mm-hmm.
begins to color our conversations on
Mm-hmm.
faith, that I think
Absolutely.
gives us so much more opportunity to share and be transparent, because we earn that right to sort of enter someone's life, right? It's
Exactly.
a
Yeah.
whole different situation than walking up to someone blindly and handing them a track. Not that tracks are
Absolutely.
bad. I love tracks, but it's different.
Mm-hmm.
It's a unique opportunity. I'm excited for you that you have that perspective. Very cool. I could sit here for you with that. Like, this is the hard part about these interviews. They make it last like 2 hours.
Yeah. We just need to catch up some other time
if
and
I just
talk.
stop, I'm gonna be like, zip it. I'm telling myself. um, so the other question I wanted to ask you, are there any specific like promises or truths from scripture
Mhm.
that you found to just be foundational for you, studying, offer guidance and encouragement in this season of your life?
Yeah. So there's one particular verse that I used kind of when I was going into college. I thought about a lot, and it was when I wanted to be an attorney. It was coming off of like the mock trial time of my life. But it's in Proverbs 31, and it's the speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of those who are destitute. And I thought that I understood what that verse meant to me as an 18-year-old. But college has really kind of helped me understand how much deeper and more important that call is. I've really understood, my privilege of where I live, of how I've grown up, of, the color of my skin, of a lot of things. And how that privilege puts me in a unique place. I need to speak on, behalf of so many people who are discriminated against for so many different reasons. And so that's been one thing that's really just kind of kept me, especially in like interactions in individual conversations. It's not always comfortable to speak up for people. It's not always comfortable, especially if they're people that like it doesn't affect you. It's not affecting your everyday life. But to have those hard conversations and to call attention to injustice when it's happening. I know this is kind of like not trying to be like political or anything,
Oh,
but just, I don't know. I think college is a time where you become much more aware of that. My time abroad helped me become aware of that too. And then, with what I want to do with the people with disabilities, it's helped me see too, just how much, prejudice and things there are against them as well. So yeah, I think that was my charge when I came into college, but I didn't understand how heavy of a charge that was because there are just so many different things
right.
going on in the world. But it's just shown me like, where I sit and how important it is for me to be a voice for people who haven't had the opportunities that I've had. And also not assume that they need my voice. It's a really kind of tricky thing to figure out, but to be an advocate in whatever way you can. So yeah.
Right. And you're in that season where you're getting a fresh glimpse at all of these things that feel so huge and so heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And in the next season it's kind of cool, like just my little bit of experience.
Mm-hmm.
Is the Lord starts to, as you're walking with him and seeking him, he starts to kind of funnel that down to give you sort of, and I think your sphere of influence changes over the years. Like for me, when I was in education, it was my students and families I worked with. Now my sphere of influence is at home
Mm-hmm.
and teaching my children about those things, and but it's neat how as you go down that path, he kind of like, it's almost like you're probably experiencing this already. Like he shines a light on the things that you need to focus your attention on at that time for that season, whatever that season is. And it's just neat to hear about how that's kind of playing out for you in a unique way.
And that's really good I'm excited to have that funneled down because it can be overwhelming when you start to think about all the different ways, if we're called to speak on behalf of people who are being, oppressed, that's a lot of people. And so to find your own niche and where you're, called to be. And I definitely think I've begun to find mine, which, like you said, is very enlightening. So.
Yeah. Well, tell me where that verse was again. Proverbs 31.
It's 31. I want to say it's 31:8. I can
Okay,
find
that'll
it.
give people somewhere to look if they want to find
Okay.
it. And tell
Yeah.
me the verse again, just so they can Google it if they want to.
Here, I'll do it right now.
Okay.
31:8 is, yep. So 31:8 is speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the right of all those who are destitute. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you can sort of see that parallel scripture that says, seek justice, love mercy, walk humbly with your God. I mean, that just, I love it when those themes, you can see those recurring themes in scripture, and it gives us a glimpse into the heart of God, right? I mean, it's like, these are the things that we should value and that should be important to us. Because like you said, there's so many things, there's so many good causes even that we could just, spin our wheels doing all these different things, but it gives us some singularity in our purpose.
And I think that should definitely be, it is a large focus of the church, but I think that should be, the heart of the church, and that, the kind of all the little side things that always happen of the negative things that pop up, could dissolve if we could just make that our focus again, that, we were always just meant to love and seek justice. Yeah.
Yeah. So in what ways this very unique season of pandemic life, in what ways specific to your life, of course this looks different for everyone, but have you sensed God refining you, sort of like we were talking about shining the light on different areas? What does that look like for you?
I think,
big question.
Yeah, I'm sure you feel this as well. I think this season has just been such a huge wake-up call for everyone in some way or another, that that life isn't guaranteed, that the things you think you're going to have in life aren't guaranteed, that you might put work into something and it might not happen, and that's something you have to deal with, just having that flexibility. But I think the coolest thing that's come from it is just the connection with people, and the realization that I've had that when everything else stops, and when all the recognitions and graduation and anything else fall away, that what really mattered about my whole life has been the connections with the people that I've made. And I've just been so amazed at how people have continued to find ways to connect and love each other through this. And so I think just that perspective has been really refined in me. And I also have thought a lot about, the verses that are like, weep with those who are weeping and rejoice with those who are rejoicing, and kind of trying to figure out, how do we mourn with these thousands of people who have lost loved ones, and how do we also find joy with each other to be able to get through, this hard time, and kind of dealing with hard emotions and also seeking joy in the hard times. I've had a lot of time to sit and ponder that, and just be a part of the whole world struggling through the same thing at the same time, but also the ways everyone's supporting each other. It's been really beautiful. So I think just it's been a big perspective shift. It's made me very grateful for the time that I do have with people, and again, just really showed me the importance of connection, and that's what we have when everything else falls away. Thank goodness for Zoom and FaceTime.
Right.
Yeah.
I've sort of thought about, it's like we're going on with our own lives in some ways, even though it's shifted and changed. But then I also have felt this sense of almost like somebody who's about, I know war is a bad example, but someone who's like preparing to be launched like into some, new vocation. Like it's almost like this sense of urgency to be prepared, because like you're saying, the ministry of presence is very difficult right now. Unless people have access to the internet and technology, which is also a privilege.
Absolutely.
There's going to be those who have not had access to that and are working through all the same emotions as the rest of us that we're able to process on social media or Zoom call, or that those people haven't been able to do that. Maybe they're lonely, or they don't have anyone that they live with. And then like, how do we be prepared deep in our souls to be able to be present in a very unique time as we sort of all emerge from this? I always think the word that the Lord keeps bringing to mind for me is just listening. Like, again, listening. Like, I need to be in a posture of just like readiness.
Mm-hmm.
That because I start to feel very overwhelmed. I'm kind of naturally an empath, which I think you are a little bit too, sounds like. And instead of like getting overwhelmed with all the possibilities and all the need, just to like position my heart to be like, Lord, what every day, every morning, what do you have for me today?
Mm-hmm.
Help my eyes to be open,
Yeah.
which in and of itself, I think is huge in our culture because we're all kind of asleep, like right here,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Are just kind of distracted or unfocused. And yeah, that's really encouraging to hear you talk about it in that way because it parallels with some of the things I've been thinking about too. And I know probably many people who are listening, sometimes it's hard to just put your feelings into words, but like to hear other people who are like-minded in faith with you put the same things into words, like, okay, maybe there's a theme here. Like,
Yeah. And it's been such a cool season also because I think that people are talking about their feelings so much more than ever before. Like you said, those of us who do have access to social media, we are being real and vulnerable with each other in ways that I don't think we've seen in a long time. And of course there's still division. There's always a lot of division.
Posturing, pride.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But just trying to, like we've been saying, like having those conversations of vulnerability and emotions that we need to have right now because we're all processing this together. So
Right.
yeah.
It makes me like, I feel my heart almost drawn to the people who I see being vulnerable like that.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me want to be like, when this is all over, I really want to have lunch with that person.
Yeah.
Like I want to understand more about their position or when you see that posture of like openness and wanting to talk and learn and be curious about how other people are dealing with things, it kind of sets, I don't know, it makes me want to reach out after all this is over to a lot of folks that you see them in new ways through all of this. I don't know.
Yeah. No, and I hope that we're able to keep this posture and this kind of mindset when the world is able to get back, the way it was, because I know it'll be so easy to just slip back into just being in our own little bubbles. But I hope that we kind of, like you were saying, keep that perspective.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, anything else you want to tell us about?
Not particularly, just that I've been so encouraged and thankful just being in this Facebook group, seeing the different posts and things that you guys have been doing to keep everyone connected and keep everyone encouraged, and also just the way that people are supporting each other, that people have been supporting my sister, Shannon, through this and writing her cards. I really am thankful for that. And I just think that it's just exactly what the church is meant to be. So I'm really thankful for that example.
Oh, so awesome, girl. It is so good to see you.
You too. You too.
And maybe we'll get to see you this summer if you're able to get back to Gastonia.
Yeah, I hope so.
Not, although I hope your plans can come through somehow. But you said you're definitely not going to be traveling until January. That would be the earliest.
Probably. I'm pursuing some other options that would have me leave late October, but we don't know. So I'll at least be here until then. But yeah.
Okay. And in the meantime, well, I'll be joining you in prayer that God, we know that God is working all things together for your good because you are called according to his purposes. And so he is true to himself. And you're going to get to see all the pieces fall in line in a very providential and sacred way in your life. And I'm excited about that.
So. Thank you. I'm excited to see it too.
It was so good to talk to you, Ashley.
You too. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll talk to you soon.
All righty. Bye.